Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is brought to you by our friends at Fangoria magazine. That's right, the first name in fright since 1979 is now an affiliate of America's Hometown Horror. And because of that, we can now offer you an exclusive 20% discount on any first-time magazine subscription or merchandise purchase by heading over to shop.fangoria.com and using the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout. That's shop.fangoria.com/HometownHorrorPod, or just use the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout for that exclusive discount on anything from Fangoria. Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is also brought to you by our friends at Horror Facts Magazine. Never heard of Horror Facts Magazine? Well, if you're a horror fan, they're a name that you absolutely should know. You can find them over at horrorfacts.com, and they're a great resource for all things horror, including news, reviews, editorials, and lots of other horror podcasts, not only limited to, but including America's Hometown Horror. So head on over to horrorfacts.com and check them out. Now, let's get on with the show. All right, hello, good evening, and welcome into another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks so much for checking back in with us. My name is Mike, and I'll be hosting you tonight throughout this very special draft day edition of America's Hometown Horror. First and foremost, here's where you can find us online if you're interested in such things. First place is our website, ahhpod.com. It's ahhpod.com. Head over there for more info about the show and our blog, much more, etc., etc. Thank you, Matthew. You can also find us on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Just search for America's Hometown Horror, and you'll find us. And you can also email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com. And if you would like to have your voice heard on our show, you can call us and leave us a voicemail at 508-927-1267. That's 508-927-1267 to leave us a voicemail. Of course, the most important thing you can do for our show is give us a like or a subscribe and leave us a review, preferably a 5-star review if you like what we do. And thanks, as always, to our friend Shaun O'Laughlin from Skywheel Media, who's now handling all of our audio and music production. Thanks, as always, to Shauno. And if you have a podcast you're looking to take to the next level in terms of audio production, get in touch with us, and we'll put you in touch with Shaun O'Laughlin and Skywheel Media. All right, so I am joined in studio live with the boys. Again, Andrew, Matthew, hello, good evening.
What's buzz, gang.
What's up?
Patriots officially have a quarterback.
Yes, they do.
It's gonna be May.
Yeah, it's gonna be May. It's about to be May, and it is May for what? It's some bad jokes. I don't know where I was trying to go with that. That's all right though. So yeah, hey, this is definitely going to be a fun one tonight. We haven't done a draft in a while.
And we're drafting with the NFL at the same exact time.
Yep. While the NFL draft is on in the background, which I'm sure will not be at all distracting for any of us as we're recording this live episode.
Not anymore.
Yeah, now the Patriots have picked. I'm not as
Unless
interested
they trade
in
back
else.
up into the first round.
I mean, they might. You never know.
That would be like 3 hours from now.
You never know. So we'll see what happens. But the Patriots do have a new franchise quarterback. If you do care about sports ball and you're a Patriots fan, as we are. So anyway, we got a little bit of a late start tonight, so I think we are going to forego news and all of the other usual intro chit-chat stuff that we do, and just dive right on in, dick first, into tonight's...
Hakuna Matata? What? It's a sex position. No, it isn't. That's from a kid's movie.
Hakuna Matata. It's a wonderful phrase.
No, it's when you dump your balls into a lady's ass.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's it.
All right. So we're doing a draft tonight, gentlemen.
And she clenches and they get
no one busts.
So if you're listening to this,
no climax.
You guys are making this impossible to try and get through a sentence here. Good Lord. If you're listening to this, hopefully you listened to our episode on David Cronenberg's The Fly that came out last week. And as we finished that episode up when we were recording it, got us a little, get the wheels turning in our heads a little bit, trying to think of some topics to do a draft in celebration of the halfway to Halloween season. And we settled upon drafting horror remakes. That's right, folks.
We've somehow never done this.
I know.
I'm confused. I feel like
I swear to God we have.
We did sequels,
Yeah.
which there's a lot of sequels that I feel like that are going to be on this list that aren't. No. Similar though, because some of the sequels are remakes.
Yeah, I mean it's we are obviously living in the time of like remakes, requels, legacy sequels. So sometimes the line between what's actually a remake and what isn't does get blurred slightly, I would say. So I think the the rules might be a little bit different for some of us here. I know that we didn't really discuss any hard and fast rules for this, but I think we did agree upon that there were at least 2 movies, I think, that are completely off the table, one of which being The Fly, because we just talked about that movie this past week.
We did also talk about, too, I think, that moving on, when we go into a draft, before the draft starts, we all get to make like a veto or a rule right at the beginning that can be used to kind of put a little chink in someone's armor.
I mean, do we want to futz around with that off the cuff tonight, or should we?
That's gonna be hard, dude. This is gonna
well, no, I think we're gonna knock out a few minutes. So I think we're The Fly. We just talked about, so that's off the table.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I would imagine that neither of you guys would have drafted The Fly anyway, considering that we just
that would have been my number 1 pick.
No, I'm saying just considering the fact that that we just talked about it, I don't feel the need to talk about it again.
Same thing with The Thing. We've talked about that a billion times.
I've fawned over The Thing a bazillion fucking times, so I wouldn't have picked.
Let's just say that those are obvious candidates for the first pick.
I would say arguably those are probably the 2 best horror.
Because I don't want people to listen to this podcast and be like, "You guys didn't pick The Fly or The Thing." Yeah, no, we've talked about it 8 million times. Yeah, so no, we didn't.
No, we you know what? When we did our decade drafts, we also took out some movies for those too.
We might have talked about some of these movies.
You know, we didn't talk about like the.
You can only wax poetic so much.
We didn't talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We didn't talk about The Shining. You know, there's a lot of shit we didn't talk about.
Yeah. Well, I think you can go to a lot of different places to hear commentary about those movies, including older episodes that we've done. I like to dig a little bit deeper and try and find some deeper cut stuff, or some stuff that doesn't get talked about like as much.
Well, yeah, it makes for more interesting conversation.
As I was going through Horror Remakes today, I was like, all right, there's some forgotten gems.
There's some gems. There's also a lot of fucking poop. Dog shit.
Complete poop.
Yeah. I came up with like 10 that I was like, you know what? I'm good with like 10. So
there's butts that have been been touched.
There's butts that have been disabled.
So I think this will be a fun one tonight. I think we're going to draft 4 each, which means that we're getting 12 different movies that we're going to talk about here. I'm sure there'll be some competition here.
It's gonna be tight.
Yeah, but as if we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here, and you're saying, guys, Mike, what the fuck are you talking about? What the hell is a draft? Well, it's like this. So if any of you play fantasy sports, or if you've listened to our show before, you know that we love us some drafts, baby. Basically, what we're doing here is a snake-style fantasy draft, which means a la your standard fantasy football league or fantasy baseball league, basketball, hockey, whatever fantasy sport you choose to play.
Not the god, Allah.
So basically, we're going to pick. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, and then so on and so forth until we have all picked our teams, if you will. Without further ado, let's draft. Actually, that was a lie. With a little bit more ado, why don't we take a quick little break here from a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back with our horror remake draft. Stay tuned.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spooktacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park. Spooky World.
Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then right next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
All right, now without further ado, let's do some drafting. I do have an order ahead of me here, or in front of me, that I selected at random. And the order is going to be as follows. First up is going to be Andrew.
Oh, wow.
Followed by Matthew.
I don't know if I've ever had the number one.
No, actually.
Followed by yours truly.
Yeah, you guys get 2 in a row.
Which means that Andrew,
I'm gonna get fucking
fuck. I kind of hate having that.
Much like the Chicago Bears, Andrew is on the clock for the first overall pick in the draft. So, Andrew, the question remains: who will be your Caleb Williams this evening?
I'm gonna go with Alexandra Aja, 2006. The Hills Have Eyes.
Can I interject? Real quick.
You can't.
When I was leaving today, I asked Sarah, which my wife is not a horror fan at all, and I pointed at her and I said, "What will be the first pick of the remake draft?" And she was like, I don't know. She's like, I don't know what movies are remade. I'm like, just give me one, throw it out there. What do you think it is? She goes, The Hills Have Eyes. I was like,
it's definitely
what
up
a
there.
genius.
It's worthy of the first round.
What a genius.
Yep.
It's worthy of the overall number one. I mean, it's fantastic movie. We've talked about that movie a lot too on this
Yeah, we
podcast,
have.
I feel like.
Yep.
But there's just something, it's so well done. It's such a redemption story for that loser fucking guy. I can't remember his name, but he just builds himself up.
I know
Because
his
you
name.
go
The
throughout
actor's
movie,
name
the
is
actors-
Aaron Stanford is the guy's
Aaron
name.
Stanford.
Yep.
Like, it's just, you hate him so much at the beginning of this movie. And I don't think the original
You
was
just
very
kind of a dork.
similar.
Yeah.
It's a dork, and he doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't want to protect his family. And then something snaps. And I think it's
Well, it only
pretty much
took his wife getting shot in the fucking
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
And
his
something
baby getting
snaps, and the guy,
kidnapped, so.
or his father-in-law getting lit on fire
Yeah,
on a
and
tree.
his mother-in-law getting
Yeah.
shot in the stomach, and his sister.
It only took everybody he
Yeah.
loves dying or
Yeah.
being mutilated.
Dude, this is a brutal fucking movie.
One of the hardest fucking.
It goes
movies
hard as fuck.
ever,
Yeah.
dude.
And the Hills Have Eyes 2, that remake too.
Yeah.
Fucking, that's right up there.
Yeah.
Like that could be.
The original Hills Have Eyes. We talked about this briefly last week, and that movie, the original one, is still just as fucking hard, dude. Like that RV scene is
that's
joke,
one
man.
of the greatest scenes in horror I think that's ever been.
I
filmed.
agree.
And
That's
I
a
feel
Wes
like it
Craven,
doesn't get enough like roses.
That's an OG Wes Craven joint
Yeah.
too,
Mm.
and the remake is fucking. I remember I watched this when I was like, when did this come out? 2006.
Six.
Yeah.
So I was like 12. I watched this. My mom rented it for me.
Dude.
And I remember I had to shut it off. I took a break. I was like, I gotta go outside and like play.
Yeah.
I bought this movie off the Blockbuster bin that they had. It was like $3.99.
Yeah,
And I was like, yeah. And I watched the movie so many times. Fucking love this movie.
it's a sick
Yeah.
movie.
It's so
It's
good.
awesome.
It's so good.
Pretty sure I own it on DVD, actually.
I had it on DVD. I don't have it on Blu-ray or 4K yet, but I'd like to get it. I have the original. but-
This is definitely, you mentioned it came out in 2006, Andrew, and this was out when a lot of classic 70s and 80s horror movies were being remade at the time into a lot of like
Well,
cuddly,
Texas Chainsaw
fuzzy.
kind of brought it out.
Well,
not like that.
I'm not talking about that one right now because that might come up later on in the draft. But yeah, there were a lot of horror remakes that came out around this time, and I think this one pulled fucking zero punches.
No, it's
It's
hard.
gory as fuck. It's got
Full-blown
sexual violence,
dude. Yeah.
horrible violence, animal violence. It's fucked. Not for the faint of heart, but also very, very good.
Extremely well done. One of the
Yeah.
best, like, this movie doesn't, not even like best remakes, just one of the best horror movies of all time.
Yeah, this was a peak of like the 2000s too, of just being like where we were in this like lane of like unstoppable abhorrent violence. It was just like,
Mhm.
dude, let's like put a notch way higher
Dude,
than
the
everything
scene
else.
where the fucking
Especially where it was
moth
mainstream.
and he fucking just like stabs him in the head or with
Yeah.
the fucking flag or whatever. Was that?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Love the big brain.
yeah.
thing
That
or-
Rose's giant neck.
It's also
It's
you know,
like,
it's
oh
very
my God.
very gory, but also very scary. Like when
Yeah.
the main guy is going through like that fake town that was set up for the
Yeah.
nuclear tests
Yeah.
and just all the dummies.
Oh
and,
yeah,
like,
that's so good. The
it's
little
really
girl,
good.
he's like trying to
He wakes up in
Yeah.
a bin full of body parts.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Bet you that smelled
Christ.
delicious.
Heavy stuff. Heavy stuff, my friends.
It's a hard one.
Good pick, Andrew. At number 1 overall, The Hills Have Eyes off the board, which means that Matt is on the clock at number 2.
Alrighty then. Well, that would have been my number one pick. So I'm going to go with 2004 Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead.
It was between those two for me.
Yep. Also a very good one.
So I remember when I was a kid, I saw The Day After Tomorrow in theaters with my parents. And in 2004, I was 10. And they had a bitchin' trailer for Dawn of the Dead, which basically was like the first few minutes of the movie. And then it just so on and so forth. I was fascinated by it and it creeped me out. And then I remember USA showed the first 10 minutes of that movie like a week before it premiered in theaters. And it was basically the first part of the movie up until the credits, like the opening credits.
Yeah,
came
like
up.
the it's like when the virus kind of takes hold and everything's kind of going fucking
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
And so I watched that and I remember being like, holy shit, dude. And I was like 10. Like, you know what I mean? I was a little kid. This was before I even saw The Hills Have Eyes. So that came out, and then I did see that at a pretty young age as well, and I was pretty affected by it. But there's something about this movie that even now watching it as an adult, it gets to me, dude. I don't know if it's that everything's like tinted green, but there's some sort of like dreadful fucking shit about this movie that it just like, I'm like, I can't like eat after I watch it. I'm like, like my appetite just gone.
Yeah.
It's not that it grosses me out, but there's something about it. There's like a dreadful element to it that like fucks me up. And it's like they go hard and making these like buses and like they have this big plan. It's the same thing with the original one, but this one really draws into like the hopelessness of all these fucking poor people, where they like make this big plan. They try to get out of the fucking mall. And dude, they just get so quickly overrun and they just cannot get out. And then they go to this stupid little island and then fucking dude, what a cool fucking movie. Like what a cool time for it to come out. It's might be the most hardcore zombie movie of all time.
Also might have one of the best cover songs ever.
Oh, the Richard Cheese Down with the Sickness.
Well, that, and then also doesn't it have isn't there a Real Big Fish song in that too?
I don't know.
I thought there was a Real Big Fish song. I thought it was like New York, New York. No, did they do that in that movie?
They do. Johnny Cash has the opening.
Yeah.
With
I think that whole
when the
soundtrack
man comes around.
I think that whole
it's a
soundtrack
fucking
is
sick
fucking
soundtrack.
banger soundtrack.
It's a wild movie. It's a
Actually,
Universal
also, Ving
produced
Rhames
movie.
and Tim Roth's in that too, right?
No, it's not
No.
Tim Roth.
No,
It's got it looks like Tim
It does
Roth.
look
Yeah,
like
it
Tim
looks
Roth,
like
but
Tim
it's
Roth.
not him.
Sarah Polly,
Yeah.
Mekhi Phifer.
Ving Rhames.
Yeah.
Ving
Yeah.
Rhames, he's got the meats.
Yeah,
It's
dude,
a,
it's actually a stacked, like, good little cast of like, cool like
Yeah.
character actors. Yeah,
It is a fucking absolute banger of a movie, though. Like, and it's violent as shit. Another one that's just like way over the top. Like, you got, oh, dude, just like the zombie violence is crazy. You got a baby getting fucking shot.
Yeah.
Dude, like, Jesus
it's nuts.
Christ.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely nuts.
And like the ending is just so fucking hopeless. You're just like, God damn
Yeah.
it. Like there's just, and like, not that Romero's movies had that either. Like, they were still pretty like bleak, but this one was like, I feel it in my like, I'm like, like this movie makes me feel like icky. Like,
Yeah.
fuck, dude, this movie is fucking brutal.
I can certainly understand that. And I think that, say what you will about Zack Snyder. I think he's a divisive filmmaker for a lot of people. I think he directed 300 before this. And this might have been his like second film, maybe. Hard to think that he topped this movie with anything else that he's come out with since. I mean, I enjoy some of his movies. But I think this is definitely his best. And this is certainly one of those movies that you could look at and be like, why would you ever want to remake Dawn of the Dead? Like, why would you even try to tackle that? The original one is such a classic. And I don't know. It's kind of
swinging.
yeah.
I think he did a good job.
It's kind of amazing that it did as well as it did, and it kind of put Zack Snyder on the map big time.
In terms of like comparing remakes to their originals,
Yeah.
it's a top 3.
I was going to say,
For me,
like, do you
so-
think this is actually better than the original? Like,
No.
It's hard to put. It's hard to make that
no,
case.
no.
Yeah.
But it is, like, I will say, in terms of remakes, this is it's
Top
up there.
notch.
It's a top 3.
Top notch.
This is a very, very good movie.
Yep.
It's right up there. This was in the
It's
that
so
that
fucking
prime
scary,
time of
dude.
like, well, you had
Like,
this 2004, Hills Have Eyes 2006.
This is
Like,
a
this
worst
was-
case scenario zombie situation,
Yeah.
dude. Like,
Well, they're fast zombies.
they're
too.
fucking crazy fast.
Yeah.
Which
Like,
did they
yeah.
steal that from 28 Days Later? Maybe
They might have.
because they said it's like I was reading
28 Days Later came up.
and they're like,
before
oh,
that.
James Gunn and Zack Snyder came up with a novel approach to zombies with them being so fast. I'm like, did they though? Or
I think it was
did they-
Danny Boyle and Alex Garland.
But
Yeah,
they,
like, let's be
and
real.
that, they're not
Actually-
technically zombies. So
Yeah, they're infected. That's true. That's a very good point.
I think it's just my hatred for James Gunn.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead off the board for
That, this was
Matthew.
my 1-2. Was I was torn between
Mm.
Hills Have Eyes or Dawn of the Dead.
What was
God,
it?
Yeah,
My top
it's
3.
kind of it's a very good it's a hard decision to make for sure. All right, so which means that I am on the clock now at number 3 with back-to-back picks here. So
gotta be the Mummy.
I
right?
mean, I'm gonna go. I mean, how many times have I talked about the Mummy?
I know
on
it's
this
almost
show?
like you can't.
It's
Like, you can talk about it again if you want.
I mean, I'm not going to go with The Mummy with my first overall pick here.
That would be so good. though.
I'm going to go with a little film from the year 2017, and that would be Andy Muschietti's It, based on the iconic Stephen King
So that counts.
novel. That absolutely counts, I think.
Made for TV show.
Yeah, so
I was wondering if that would count.
I'm
fine with it.
I'm thinking yes, because it was made as a TV miniseries or whatever, and this was often considered to be a remake.
I mean, it is a remake.
You could
it is a
say
remake.
maybe not. I mean, if you wanted to get into the minutia of it, you could say, "Hey, Mike, you're a fucking asshole. It doesn't count."
Well, we didn't say movie remakes.
No,
We
I'm
said
not-
remakes.
No, yeah, I'm not
Fair,
saying that
fair.
you were saying that. I'm just saying.
I might say it.
But I love this movie.
It's fantastic.
It's fantastic, and I think it did a really smart thing where it took because the book itself, I remember when this was about to come out, I not reread, I listened to the audiobook version, which is read by Steven Weber, by the way. Great reading voice on Audible.
Oh, Steven Weber.
The book is like fucking 49 hours long.
Yeah,
on Audible.
it's like 1,100 pages.
Well, yeah.
It's insane. So I listened to that, and it bounces back and forth between so many things, and a lot of it, when you read it, feels a little bit dated and weird. I think Andy Muschietti did a really smart thing in separating the two stories and just making the first movie about the kids with Pennywise.
But didn't they do that in the TV show too?
I mean, it was kind of,
Yeah.
kind of, but
he also like bumped the timeline
up, yeah, because that was right around
like
the time.
It wasn't in the 50s and 80s. It
Right.
was in the 80s and now.
And because that was also
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
at the same
He
time.
modernized it.
I think they also got a lot of success from that based on the fact that Stranger Things had just come out right
Well,
around
also,
then. So people
Where
were,
they're dealing with millennials. 90s is the biggest
Right.
fucking time frame that you can nostalgia.
so yeah, people were definitely into. Well, I think it was supposed to be set in the 80s, but people were definitely big time into the 80s nostalgia stuff. So that worked in its favor. And I mean, I'm kind of burying the lead here, but I mean, Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, fantastic choice, fantastic performance, a star-making turn, I would say. He is just incredibly creepy as Pennywise.
So are you picking It Chapter 1 or is it just It
I'm
in
picking
general?
It Chapter 1.
Chapter 1.
And I, with a little caveat that I think It Chapter 2, while not as good, I did really enjoy because I did like the really weird cosmic monster stuff that they did in It Chapter 2. And I know a lot lot didn't like
I really like the acting in It Chapter 2.
Yeah, I love Bill Hader.
I like the
as
kids.
Richie.
The adults were good.
Yeah,
The adults were very good.
McAvoy, Jessica
McAvoy's-
Chastain.
That's
Yeah.
You know what, dude? That was the movie
He's
last week
underrated.
that I couldn't fucking think
That's
of
right.
that he was in.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a fantastic actor.
He's
He's
a
gonna
very
make.
good
He's gonna do a very good job in that movie.
Yeah.
The remake.
Speaking of
remakes,
Yeah, and I feel like this definitely kind of kicked off this new wave of like a Stephen King renaissance, where a lot of his stuff is getting redone.
between him and
Mike Flanagan.
Mike Flanagan,
Yeah, obviously, and a lot of people are doing it to varying degrees of success.
Well, they
there's
did
been
it
some
well.
real dog shit out there, like the Firestarter
Like-
remake, like that.
I just hope that they never try and remake Thinner because that movie's fucking.
I know,
awesome.
it's one of
I don't
your
actually- don't-
favorites.
let's not
I
fucking
do.
call it
You
your
know, I
favorites.
do like Thinner too.
It's
Yeah,
underrated.
Thinner's good.
It's underrated. It's so
It's
bad.
such a
it's so
good,
good.
like
Yeah.
nostalgia movie though.
It is. It's definitely that's is Chaz Palminteri in that?
Oh yeah, he's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Or is that Joe Montana?
Joe Montana?
Yeah. Who plays the
Joe
gangster?
Montana.
Chaz Palminteri.
It's
I
Chaz
think.
Palminteri,
Right?
okay.
No, is it? No. Yes.
We can look it up, but
No.
it's one of those
Joe
two guys.
Montana.
I was like,
um,
Joe Montana. That's a person.
Real quick, because I meant to
That's a
ask this
joke.
before we kicked off the draft. Real quick, name a horror movie that you never ever want to see get remade. I'll go first, and it's Jaws. If anyone ever tries to remake Jaws, I'll fucking march over to Hollywood and burn the whole town down.
I feel like they've already been remade.
You're not gonna throw out Phantasm. I mean, Phantasm hasn't been remade yet, right?
There's no need to remake that movie.
True.
So then is that your pick?
No, the Exorcist would be my pick.
But they already did
Alright.
that. Yeah. What about
took
you, Matt?
mine. Circle back to me at the end of the
Okay.
show.
Fair enough. Okay, so yeah, It is off the board. It Chapter 1, I should say, from
I would
2017.
say for you, Halloween would be
Maybe
They've
I
already
was
done
right.
that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like Nightmare on Elm Street, they already fucked that up too.
Right.
Just fucking up movies left and right.
So
It has to
we're
be remade.
we're into round 2 here,
Mike's
and
the
then
top
we're
pick.
gonna go to me, then to Matt, then to Andrew, and I'm gonna go a little bit out of left field here, and I'll be interested to hear if either of you guys had this on your radar. I'm gonna go with a little 2020 film directed by Lee Whannell,
Nope.
and that would be The Invisible Man, which I absolutely fucking loved.
You did love that movie. It's a good movie.
Fantastic.
I like this movie too, but I had a few others above it.
Yep.
So yeah.
Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Universal monsters, and I think, obviously I've talked about the Mummy a lot. I've talked about Bram Stoker's Dracula. I just like that classic Gothic, like Universal classic monsters vibe and feel. And I know that Universal for a long time has been trying to take those movies and kind of modernize them a little bit and do them in a way that's unique and interesting. And I think that The Invisible Man really did that because it took a character that is kind of a little bit hokey and kind of cheesy, iconic, but definitely a little dated in certain ways.
You know what though, dude? I always loved growing up, like as a young kid, I loved The Invisible Man.
Oh, me too. Yeah, the original one's good.
I really, really enjoyed the movies. I thought he was so sinister.
Claude Rains.
And just like, there was something about it that I was like, they always were on AMC like really early in the morning.
Yep.
And I'd wake up early to watch them during like Fear Fest or Monster Fest, whatever it used to be back in the day on AMC. Oh man, dude, like I really, really enjoyed them. And I liked the remake, but I feel like The Invisible Man doesn't get the credit he deserves.
Is there a remake we're missing? Does that count?
What do you mean?
Oh, Kevin Bacon, Elizabeth.
Oh, the Hollow Man.
I fucking love Hollow Man.
Hollow Man's great.
I actually love that movie.
I don't think that counts.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think that
not
counts.
that doesn't count. Not the same.
Unless I
Similar.
am mistaken, I do not think that it's supposed to be a straight remake of The
I
Invisible
understand,
Man.
but it's
It'd
even
be like
though
calling
ripoff,
like
man.
it'd be like calling an American Werewolf in London a remake of a wolf.
Yeah, that's true. That's an interesting. That's a good point.
I wish I was a wolf man, dude.
But I like that this movie was able to take that character and definitely update it for for
Because
present day.
if anything, he was exactly like Kevin Bacon's character.
Correct.
He was a fucking
Yep.
creep.
The reason for the invisibility is technology based, which is cool. They play it at first very much like a ghost story. It's got a lot of like abuse survivor stuff going on in it with Elizabeth Moss.
Too.
And yeah, some of the scenes in it are just crazy intense. Like, when you can't see the Invisible Man running around, and she's trying to find different ways to bring him out into the light.
Scary situation.
Throwing paint on him. And I just think one of the all-time shocking scenes that I can remember in recent horror history is the dinner scene where Elizabeth Moss is at the table at a crowded restaurant with her sister. And she's trying to explain to her what's going on with her ex-boyfriend, who she thinks is stalking her with an invisibility cloak. And her sister thinks that she needs to be checked into an institution. And all of a sudden, the steak knife from the table gets picked up, seemingly by no one. And her sister's throat gets slashed
Wild.
in front of everybody in the entire restaurant. And he makes it look like she did it. So it's fucking crazy. And I love this movie. I love Lee Whannell as a director, and I think this is one of his best movies, and I cannot wait to see what he does with this Wolfman movie.
Lee Whannell was the guy that gets left behind in Saw 1.
Yep. So he co-wrote Saw with James Wan, and he plays Adam. Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
yeah. So The Invisible Man off the board for me. My first two
Very good
picks
pick.
are in.
Outside of my distaste for Elizabeth Moss, that's a very good movie.
Yeah, I actually didn't mind Elizabeth Moss in this one. I know you aren't really a fan of
bothers
hers.
me.
It's got really hard, really fast.
She
Because he sees it. He's got his pick waiting.
all right. Yeah, so that means that we're back to Matthew for his second pick of the evening. What do we got, Matthew?
All right, I'm gonna have to go with the brilliant Philip Kaufman film remake of 1978,
motherfucker.
The Invasion of the Body
I
Snatchers.
thought maybe that was going to get to me, and I knew it wasn't. Good pick.
This up with The Fly and The Thing.
Yeah.
I think these three are kind of like the
Godfather.
the Godfather, the grandfathers of horror remakes.
Yeah.
This arguably being the
I was
oldest, but
I was even thinking this one might be close to being off the table, but I don't think so. I think it definitely
We
should.
never
should
talked
count.
about it.
No, we never
We
do.
very rarely talk about
Another Jeff Goldblum vehicle, by the way.
Donald Sutherland,
so,
phenomenal.
wow, what a fucking movie, dude. Like, and the effects are fucking brilliant in this. And don't get me wrong, I actually admire the original.
Sure.
I think it's extremely well done. It's extremely taut. It's extremely fucking just like sad. And I think it has the same thing with this, but dude, you have fucking just such a incredible acting. Wow. Dude. Like to have Donald Sutherland just at the end with the pointing finger. And
That's one of the greatest scenes ever.
Yeah.
Got to be one of the most iconic, shocking
Horror-
endings to a movie.
top
right?
10 iconic horror images possibly of all
Yeah.
time.
That face
Like
that
that's
Donald
an
Sutherland
iconic
makes,
scene. You see that scene, you know exactly.
and the sound
what
he
fucking
makes.
movie it's from.
Oh, it's great.
What's her
Um,
fucking name that's in that? She's from Dead Zone. What is her name?
I don't know off the top of my head.
I'd have to look it up.
But the this is a this is actually
Brooke
one
Adams.
I do not own physically, which there is a great Scream Factory release. Yeah. That I gotta get my hands on because it's a fantastic fucking release. And it's got a nice little slipcover and it's got cool artwork and this and the other thing. But yeah, that's gonna be my number 2.
That's a fantastic. I'm so fucking. I was like, oh, it's setting up so nicely, and then as soon as you started Philip coughing,
Invasion of the Body Snatchers, by the way, is another movie that's been remade multiple times.
Yeah.
There's also a good
Body Snatchers.
yeah, Body Snatchers from '93. I don't know if anyone had that on their list, but that's another really good. That one's definitely more horror than I think the 78.
I still
one, but
think
the
this one's pretty horror. Intense.
But yeah, the other the '93 one's really good too.
Yeah, that's a lot more of a body horror.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, this is a great pick. So yeah, I was surprised that one lasted as long as it did. It's a very good one. For my personal tastes, I wanted to go in a different direction. But I would, if that came back around to me, which I did not think it was going to, I would have picked it. So Invasion of the Body Snatchers, it is gone, which means we're back to Andrew for his second pick of the evening.
So I'm gonna go with "Let Me In,"
You
the
bitch.
2010 Matt Reeves film, which was a remake of the 2008 film, the Swedish, I believe, Scandinavian,
Yep.
whatever. Let the right one in.
Mhm.
While this one's not as good as the original, which is fine, it's extremely well done.
I love this movie.
Richard Jenkins is phenomenal in this movie. Chloe Moretz is great. The kid Cody fucking McPhee,
Cody Smith McPhee.
he's
Yep.
very good. It's just such a different take on a vampire movie that it like. When I saw the original one and then they came with this one, I was like, I love everything about this movie. It's just so well done. It's almost more of a drama than a horror movie, but there's some scenes in it that are just full on like horror.
Oh yeah.
Like it's insane. Like I love how Richard Jenkins is like hunting for her to like get her blood. It's just so well done. And then the pool scene, I think we've talked about that before. Is just
I've never seen the remake. Is it the same as the original?
It's pretty very, very almost shot for shot. I feel like it's a remake. And Richard Jenkins plays her like old
Familia. Mhm.
and he's phenomenal.
Yeah, he's a great actor. I love him in everything that he's in. He makes The Cabin in the Woods too. He's fantastic in that movie.
Yeah, I just think it's extremely well done. Like I'd be remiss to let this pass me by as my number 2 pick.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, it was Body Snatchers, but he snatched it from me.
That was on my
He
list as
snatched
well.
it like that motherfucker.
That was on my list as well.
To be fair, you did take The Hills Have Eyes. That was going to be my
Yeah.
first pick.
Yep.
See, that's the problem with picking one sometimes is like you get what you really want, but then you don't get to
Blow your wad, dude.
that well-rounded lineup.
All right, well,
Excellent.
you got another one.
Which means that Andrew is going back to
I
back.
gotta really
here.
think about this because I know who I want for my number 4 pick. No, it's not going to be taken. Also, have I want
Oh,
think
Oh boy.
good and hard about that.
The wheels
brother.
are turning here for Mr. Andrew.
this is very difficult because I don't want to reach. I don't need to reach, but I want to get it in there. I'm just going to take the Crazies.
Oh, you fucker.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
I think it's better than the original.
I
Timothy Olyphant is phenomenal. It's just a very well
I had this
done.
on my list as well.
That opening scene when he's on the
baseball
the
field.
baseball field
Yeah.
is so good.
Yeah. Timothy Olyphant's one of my favorite actors. Phenomenal head of hair. Great
Have
actor.
you guys ever seen the original George A. Romero one?
Yes, I have. That's what I was saying. I feel like this one's better than the original.
Yeah, I think
Which
so.
is weird.
It's just because
Surprising.
it's different, but the original one is still not bad, but it gets kind of boring. But the start of that movie is like one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
There's no opening credits. All of a sudden, it's just kids are running around in a house that's on fire.
Isn't there a helicopter show up?
Yeah, and just like it's out of control.
wild
Like you're
things.
like
It's
you're
like,
just
yeah.
literally dumped into a like mayhem situation, and then the rest of the movie plays out from there.
So, interesting thing about this movie, right? So, this is directed by Breck Eisner, who has, I think, directed maybe 3 other films. Let me pull it up here.
Is he related to
He is the son
of Ed Eisner?
Nope, that's Ed. You're thinking of Ed Asner. He is the son of Michael Eisner,
Oh,
who used
Disney,
to be the
yeah.
president of the Disney company.
That's right. That's
back
what I
in
meant.
the 80s and 90s. But he hasn't directed really anything since. Like he directed The Crazies in 2010, and he directed The Last Witch Hunter in 2015. And then he directed a movie called Sahara with Matthew McConaughey and Steve
I like that
Zahn
movie.
and Penelope Cruz in
Sounds
2005.
McConaughey and Steve Zahn.
Mhm.
Let's go. Penelope Cruz
Yeah.
can go die in a ditch, but
Well,
Yeah.
Why?
Penelope Cruz sucks.
That's a very strong opinion on
There's a
Penelope
reason why they
Cruz.
knocked her off in Blow.
I was
Like,
not-
they're like, get her out of here.
Well, she's a
Not
horrible
expecting
character.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I hate her so much.
She's hot.
Yeah, I love The Crazies, though. Great pick. I was definitely going to pick that if it came back around to me. Sadly, it did not. So, Andrew, with back-to-back picks of Let Me In
Oh boy.
and The Crazies, which means that we're back to Matthew for pick number 3. It's going to be Maddie.
Oh man, this is fucking hard. I have to think. What are you gonna pick? 2 picks in a row. You're definitely not gonna pick a couple of them. So I'm gonna go with one that I think you could pick, and that's Chuck Russell, 1988, The Blob.
Oh,
That's a good pick.
Fucking, that was definitely on my list.
God
God damn it, Matthew.
Shawnee Smith, looking
You
so adorable. Dude.
have been on the Shawnee Smith
Oh
and the
my
Blob train for a
God,
long
dude.
time.
She is just like, she is gorgeous in this movie. She is just
Mhm.
beautiful, the biggest beaming smile of all time, until her boyfriend gets sucked up into the Blob and just eviscerated. So this could arguably be what makes my wife not like horror movies. She watched this movie. She's told me when she was younger, and the gore and the special effects just really freaked her out, and I think it put her off forever and ever and ever, which is impressive and also disappointing. But to say this movie does have some of the best 80s special effects ever.
Yeah,
Ever.
it
Like,
certainly
this
does.
movie is fucking hardcore, dude. Like,
You gotta bring it up, cut it out hard.
in terms of like, dude, like the deaths in this movie are fucking outrageous. Like, people just body melt the fuck up.
I'm always a big fan of like body melt deaths.
Body melt deaths are good.
with,
Have you ever seen
with
have you ever
practical
seen Street
effects.
Trash?
Street trash.
I have not
believe
seen
I
that.
have seen
Oh
that.
boys, we have a movie to watch.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
But
Street trash.
yep,
Yeah, this
Street Trash.
There's
The
some,
stuff,
the stuff is awesome.
stuff,
yeah, stuff is
phenomenal.
really good.
Body Melt, which
Body-
is from the 90s. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, this is another one that, like, dude, like they just like the Blob like fucking
Yeah.
melts people, and it just doesn't stop. And I honestly, I like the original with Steve McQueen
Yep.
and like everything. Like, dude, it's a
Yep.
good movie. It's not bad, but this movie is so over the top. It's so fucking insane. It's outrageous.
Yeah. This movie still has a death scene that I still think about a couple times a week.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah, when
That's-
I'm like in the shower or near a drain where I'm having to pull things out of a sink or put like out of a sink drain or something like that, I think of the scene in The Blob where the guy gets sucked into the drain of a sink and fucking it is the
You
grossest.
didn't think about Max
weirdest
sitting on the
thing.
bottom of the pool and Always Sunny.
Oh my god, yeah, yeah, that stuff freaks me the fuck out. So yeah, but this movie's so great though. It's so good, criminally under talked about.
Mhm.
Great call. I'm happy that got picked.
Phenomenal pick.
Phenomenal
Thank you.
pick, Matthew.
All right, Mike.
All right, to The Blob off the board. Okay. Oh, this is going to be a little tough here towards the end, but I'm going to go. I'd be interested to hear if you guys had this in your list as well, because I feel like I'm on a different wavelength right now. I am going to go with a 2011 film directed by Craig Gillespie, which is a remake of an 80s horror movie that I absolutely love, and that would be the Fright Night remake starring Colin Farrell and Anton Yelchin.
Oh.
Great remake. And admittedly, going into this movie, I absolutely love Fright Night. One of my
The
favorite,
original.
yeah, one
too.
of my favorite horror movies of the 80s.
I'm
Does
not a
that have
big
the guy-
vampire
does that have
guy.
the guy from the Dodge Durango commercials?
It's what's his name?
He's the dad with the glasses. He was in like what was he?
fuck,
in?
what's his name?
Was
What's
that
his name?
'90s movie? Blank Check? No, not
No,
Blank
no,
Check.
no, no, no,
What was
no.
the other movie?
Chris Sarandon plays Colin Farrell's character in the original movie.
Not him, but I'm saying like, oh my, is that who I? The Dodge Durango guy. He did the commercials. The
No,
Dodge
I don't think
Durango
that's the
guy.
same guy.
I don't know. I don't know
What
about
the
a
fuck
Dodge
you're talking
Durango
about,
commercial.
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, you know who the Dodge Durango guy is? As a '90s kid, Mike, you don't know who the Dodge Durango guy is?
I mean, I don't remember. Surprisingly, I don't remember that.
He's a fucking nerd, is what he is.
But I love this movie. I think it, especially for the original Fright Night and this, takes a good approach to vampires where it's like a good blend of scary and also kind of funny. I love Colin Farrell in this role. I think he's awesome. Oh, that guy. Yeah, I know exactly
he in
who
Fright
you're
Night?
talking about. I don't.
Is he like the boyfriend, dad, or am I thinking of
might be.
another vampire movie that he's in? Edward Herman?
I don't know. Hold on. Let me look it up.
IMDb it, my guy.
I gotta hold on.
I gotta figure it out.
Edward Herman is not in the original Fright Night, so I don't know who you're thinking of. But in the 2000
Lost Boys.
Lost Boys. Okay, now that rings a bell. So anyway, yeah, Colin Farrell in this I really liked a lot, and I think the supporting cast in this is also really good. Another horror role for Toni Collette. Completely forgot that she was in this movie for a little while. She plays the mom.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I don't think I haven't seen either of these movies. I think I've seen
Really?
the
You've never
original.
seen this? It's
No.
good.
Oh, dude, the original is fantastic.
The
Dude,
ori-
I
dude,
feel
you ever
like there's a
seen Fright
lot of
Night?
80s horror movies.
Is
you've
that
never
is that
seen.
Sutherland?
Huh?
What?
Is that Kiefer Sutherland?
No, dude,
No,
that's
no,
the
That's Lost Boys. See, I'm
Lost
thinking of
Boys.
that.
Lost Boys.
No, I know. I'm thinking. I don't fucking like these gay vampires. Too fucked.
I'm not big into gay vampire movies either. But,
Well,
like,
they're both gay vampire movies with Colin Farrell and Kiefer Sutherland.
but the original
Sucking people's fucking blood out
Fright
of their
Night
neck.
is fucking rad.
Dude,
Is
Fright
it-
Night's awesome.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've probably seen it and just forgot about it.
It's
'cause
one
I
of the
thought it
better
was-
vampire movies I think ever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, obviously, Fright Night's a classic, the original one. This is a very good remake. I really liked it. And some of the supporting cast is actually really good too. Anton Yelchin, rest in peace. It's got fucking,
Rip.
what's his name from fucking Superbad? McLovin is in it.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, and
Christopher Mintz-Plasse.
Mince Placé, and David Tennant's in this too.
Okay.
Fucking, yeah, fun movie. I love
Who's
the
that?
Fright.
Is he just McLovin in this too? 'Cause that'd be really funny.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He's pretty much McLovin in everything. David Tennant is Doctor Who. The guy that played Doctor Who. He was in what's that BBC detective show? One of the 15,000 BBC detective shows that was really good. Broadchurch. He was in Broadchurch. That's who.
Never heard of it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that means that I am on the board for my last pick of the night.
You got two picks.
You just did one.
Yeah, just did
Oh,
one. Yeah.
okay. That's right.
All right. I'm going back to 2003 here in a movie that.
I bet I know what it is.
Yep. A movie that.
That's two good things about this movie.
Mhm.
Yep.
So basically, this movie had obviously an effect on me in a couple of different ways. I was definitely very much getting back, not back into, but very into horror. And I went to the theater and I saw the Michael Bay directed remake
Not
of
directed.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Produced, maybe? He produced it.
Marcus
Seems
Nispin.
seems like a horrible idea to remake Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I think that this movie works in a lot of different ways because it is similar yet different to the original, right? And I'm not solely going here for the lovely Jessica Biel and her outfit in the entire movie, and she
Oh,
does look
wet sweater puppies all day.
fantastic. Mrs. Justin Timberlake, by the way, Ms. Justin Timberlake. Yeah, she's stunning in that movie. Absolutely beautiful. And I think, I just think it kind of kicks off in a different way. I love the found footage aspects at the beginning of it and at the end with the police kind of investigating the house. Thought that was really cool. I kind of like that they took a different approach in terms of the violence that you see in this one as opposed to what you see in the original one. I very much respect that about the first film. But
And
I
they
thought,
still don't show you too much.
not too much.
They
Some-
give you
some
enough that
stuff.
you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
you get to see an amputation.
Yep.
You see the chainsaw do the work.
Yep. I thought the guy they chose to play Leatherface, who I believe his name is Andrew Bernarski,
Yeah.
was a phenomenal casting choice. He's a
Mhm.
great
Fucking
Leatherface.
Huge dude.
guy.
Monster, man.
I liked the redesign of Leatherface. I thought it was a good choice. And I also thought that the choice to kind of expand the backstory of why they're traveling through the area of Texas that they're traveling in. It's to go to a Skinner concert, but they're actually trying to transport drugs and that type of thing. So, and that's how they end up getting arrested by and Arlie Ermey's in this playing the sheriff.
Oh, he's phenomenal.
He's fucking great in this. So I just thought that they kind of tweaked the story just enough where they improved on certain things. Obviously, the original one is a classic. I feel like you're going to rip me to shreds here for some of this stuff.
I'm not
but,
going to rip shreds.
I
There's
thought-
a couple things I disagree with, but that's it.
I just think that they tweaked it enough and did some different things enough where it was definitely a remake, but it was also a very good remake. And I really, really like this movie a lot. So go ahead.
This one was on my list for sure. The only thing I disagree with, the expansion of their story.
Okay.
Because I think it's important that they were going to see that their grandfather's grave wasn't robbed.
Okay.
I think it makes it a little more personal, and that was what happens in the original one. This one, yeah, they were going to a concert and they're smuggling weed.
Yep.
It made me not really like give a shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's like, okay, these are just, this could be anyone, but the original one, it's like they're going there for a reason. Like you know what I mean? They had, and like to know that the people that were doing this were grave robbers and they were the grave robbers.
Yeah.
Made it that much more scary. Like they were going to make sure it didn't happen, and then they got found by the people that made them make sure it didn't happen. Like that meant something to me. But that remake, dude, Leatherface is
frightening.
Fucking
Very
scary.
He's a
dude.
monster.
Like,
Monster.
that is
Absolute
the
monster.
scary. I
Menace.
still say I think Leatherface, even in the original, is the scariest horror movie monster.
I would 100% agree with that. Actually,
Of all time.
so powerful.
And just
And
out
just
of like, there's
He's
no
just like a brainless psychopath.
Well, that's the original thing. Is it's supposed to be someone that is like, you know, like mentally not all there,
Challenged, yeah.
and just there's no law, there's no rule, there's nothing. It's just he's protecting his house, and that's fucking crazy. Like, and so now, and even in this new, like the remake,
They should
it's
make an Under Armour ad with him. Must protect this house, and it's just fucking Leatherface.
yeah, just killing a woman.
That'd be awesome. Under Armour, call me. We got an idea.
Halloween commercial for Under
the
Armour.
remake really, like, I remember it was fucking hardcore. Like, that Leatherface was no fucking joke.
Yeah.
And then Arlie Ermey was just arguably worse like in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, he was actually the real villain. Like,
Yeah.
it played on like the family in the original of being like, dude, like there's nobody's on your fucking side.
No.
Like, this entire town is going to cut you up and fucking kill you. And
Dude,
eat you.
when he's making the kids clean up the girl who blew her fucking brains out in the van, like clean up her fucking brains.
He's so
like,
fucked in that movie.
Yeah.
You forget
he's
how
like squeezing her
fucked he
tits
is.
when she's
Oh,
wrapped
God.
up in plastic.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ, dude.
Icky.
Like,
Very icky.
yeah.
Icky sticky.
And like, but like, still, he like is making the kid like put the same gun that she had like in his mouth, and like it's just like, the movie's fucking dark, dude. Like, it's pretty heavy. And I think that was it was another one of those movies that was like a catalyst, like really opening the door into those like early to mid 2000s of being like, okay, we can get away with a lot of away with a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
These
Like,
movies definitely brought a lot of people into horror.
Oh,
These
for
remakes,
sure.
these remakes really started like a new beginning for horror fans, because I feel like the 90s tried to kill horror, and the 2000s started to slowly bring it back.
they brought it back.
Yeah.
I agree.
Full-
That's
full-
a good point, Andrew.
Full bore.
Yeah. That
full
it
bore.
really is like, it's just like they
We're not
revamped
sitting here
it,
today talking about horror movies without these movies.
and it's funny because all it took was making them so fucking violent.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it's all anyone.
Well,
ever
once
wants
they
to see.
realize they're like, we can do anything we want now.
We can just make that's what's happening
Murder
now,
people.
dude. We're having this huge horror. Like, horror is bigger than
It's ever been.
it's ever been, and
They're all
so
fucking
violent,
great.
dude.
They're
Yeah.
the best movies out there. The best movies available.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
This year especially is going to be a huge year for horror, I think. But nothing's going to make more money than that fucking Deadpool and Wolverine movie that's coming out in a couple of months, and that's probably one of the.
But
few,
isn't that rated R?
It is probably one of the few Marvel
Hugh
movies
Jackman
that I
in
actually.
that?
Yeah, it's
But that's gonna probably
so
be
yeah,
violent as
because
shit,
I actually
too.
loved the what was it? Was it
Logan.
Logan?
Logan was
I loved
awesome.
that movie.
Yeah, I can fuck with Wolverine. Wolverine's kind of the man. I kind of love the X-Men.
Wolverine's
so.
probably the best X-Men. He's probably the best. He's probably my favorite.
My man Gambit, mon ami. He's my favorite. I love me some Gambit. Gambit.
Sounds about right. He's got perfect head of
All
hair.
right.
Gambit.
Well,
Gambit does have a perfect.
All right,
hair.
who's going next?
All right, so
who's
yeah.
up next? now?
Matthew. is on the board for his
So-
last pick of the evening.
This could be a hot take, but it could be also a great transition because we're talking about Deadpool. I'm going to go with Andrew Douglas, 2005, The Amityville.
Ooh,
So you do like that.
dude, I was actually just about to say for every Hills Have Eyes, Dawn of the Dead, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we get fucking Ryan Reynolds' Amityville Horror. So I'm very interested to hear why you like this movie.
This movie scared the shit out of me when it came out when I was a kid.
The
Another
Fly.
one that I saw when I was really young. There's some great scares in this movie, but I think it just really plays on more of the story. It really fucking hits, dude. Like, this is a haunted house movie
Okay.
for fucking sure. The original's fine, but it's not as scary as this one.
Okay. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch this.
You 100% do. This is one of those movies that when it first came out, I feel like, meh. And
Dude,
then you watch
especially
it again,
now.
and it's actually really good. Ryan Reynolds' performance is fucking phenomenal.
Dude, he's like a
He
fucking
is. He makes
piece of
good-
shit.
he
good
makes
George Lopez.
he makes
Yeah.
Brolin look like he doesn't even know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And then you have like having a kid now, dude. You got your kid walking out on
The
top of
fly
roof,
and the
dude.
fly
You're like,
scene in this one is way better than the other one.
So, okay, so maybe I forget a little bit more about
There's
this
some
movie than
serious jump
I
scares.
thought.
in this
So,
one, too.
do you get more of a look at Jodie in this than you do in the original? Because
Jodie's a little girl.
No, the pig. I'm talking about Jodie.
No,
the pig.
it's no pig.
There's no
It's a
pig.
little girl.
Wait a
It's all
second.
bullet hole in her head.
Okay, so yeah, because in the book, they see the demonic pig.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which is creepy.
yeah.
But this is it's a little girl with like
Okay,
a
so that-
very visible like bullet hole in her head.
Okay, gotcha. All right, so yeah, I'll go back and rewatch this one. I stand corrected.
With the editing and everything, the way it's done, dude, this movie it's very much in the same vein as like Texas Chainsaw. It's no punches are pulled, like it's very cut and dry. They got the procedural news footage bit at the beginning, like it's right in the same alley. So
Okay.
that's gonna be my
Yeah,
number
Ryan Reynolds is underrated.
And Ryan Reynolds is a fucking mean son of a bitch.
He is.
In this movie too, dude.
He's,
He's like this is after Van Wilder,
Yep.
and it's like
This is when he was trying to show his chops.
yeah, and you know
And he
he's
definitely fucking did.
huge
He's-
too, dude. He's like
big. He got bulked.
beef
off.
castle in this
He's-
movie, dude.
he's,
This
he's-
might be
he's
his-
a stud.
This might be
stud.
his sexiest movie role. To be completely honest. I mean, let's be real. Ryan Reynolds.
No, he's
do it all.
huge, but dude, he's like not huge in the terms of he's huge in being like that's a scary guy. Like,
I
you don't
wouldn't
want
fuck
to
with
be.
him, no.
And the thing is that the only people he's threatening to is his wife and his children,
Which is fucked.
which is very scary.
That's
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah.
He was also very good in the voices. I think.
I
Have you
didn't
seen
see
that
that.
movie?
I still haven't seen that.
That's a
movie.
weird
No.
fucking horror movie too. It's like a horror comedy.
I love Ryan Reynolds.
I
it's good.
fucking love Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's like who's he like? He's like Paul Rudd. How can you not like Paul Rudd?
I know. How do you not
I love
love Ryan
Paul
Reynolds?
Paul Rudd.
Although
Paul
I will
Rudd,
say, if I have to see one more commercial
Keanu
for
Reeves, same thing.
if I have to see one more fucking commercial for the Ryan Reynolds and Mac from Always Sunny fucking soccer show on FX, I'm gonna punch my fucking TV through the wall. So Ryan Reynolds, stop making your soccer show. No one cares.
Well, somebody cares
Hot
because they're
take.
watching. it.
Yeah, people in Wrexham care apparently.
He's jealous.
you
You
know,
know, on
move-
a soccer team.
No, I'm not. Actually, well, that would mean I would
They
have a
make
lot, of money, so it's true.
so.
I mean, you're
Um,
dressed like you own a soccer team, so it's
I'm wearing the same work uniform that you're wearing.
well,
right
I mean,
now.
I was referring more to when you're wearing your vest.
Oh, I'm not wearing a vest right now.
Oh, I know. But I feel like soccer people wear vests.
Oh, okay. All right, fair.
I'm joking. Hey, look,
I'm
Elizabeth Moss.
Joking.
I'm telling
Um,
you, I can't.
You know what movie I love that Ryan Reynolds is in that I feel like gets slept on all the time, but he's the only kind of small part is Adventureland. I absolutely love that
Oh, I
movie.
forgot you seen that
Harold and
movie. Yeah.
Kumar go
Yeah.
to White Castle.
Really good. Harold and Kumar.
I like that movie with Denzel that he's in.
Denzel. Which one is that?
Safe House. I think.
Waiting.
Waiting's a really
Waiting's
good movie.
phenomenal.
Yeah. So yeah, Ryan Reynolds. Everybody likes him. All right, Amityville Horror from
I will have
2005.
honorable mentions if we're gonna go there because
Are we
Yeah,
doing
I
one?
had
Are we
to-
doing 5? Because we're running pretty quick.
We're almost in an hour.
Do
We
5.
could go 5 if you guys want
Go
to.
5. I got 5.
Okay.
I got 5, and I got
All
2 in
right,
a row
Andrew. So that
anyway,
means that you're going back to back to close out your draft here. So what the hook going to be, Andrew?
So I'm going to go with Red Dragon.
Ooh, all right. Had a feeling you might go that
I
direction.
fucking
Curveball.
I love
didn't even think of
Manhunter.
this one.
Manhunter, phenomenal movie. Brian Cox, phenomenal. It's a Michael Mann film from
Yeah, Michael Mann's
86.
awesome.
It was awesome. But I mean, it's tough. Like Edward Norton, Anthony Hopkins, Ray Fiennes, whatever the fuck his name is. Movie's great. I love Red Dragon. I think I like it more than Hannibal. Definitely don't like it more than Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs is number one, then Red Dragon, then Hannibal. But Manhunter is a very underrated movie. And when they remade this
Manhunter,
movie,
I think is scarier than Red Dragon.
it's a lot scarier. Yeah. It's really fucking weird. It's a very weird movie, and it's very upsetting. And Brian Cox is actually a great Hannibal Lecter.
But who plays Frank Del? What is
what's his name?
Delapart?
Dal Ripple? No, not Dal Ripple.
It's like Frank Della something.
It's Dollarhide.
Francis Dollarhide.
Who plays?
I actually don't
Dollarhide?
remember who plays Francis Dollarhide.
In the original one? I'll look it up.
He is arguably the
guy that plays him
scariest.
is really fucking creepy as fuck.
He might be the scariest portrayal of a actual real life serial killer maybe ever.
All right, so
not real life, but like a more realistic serial killer. Yeah.
Francis Dollarhide is portrayed in Manhunter is portrayed by a guy named Tom Noonan.
Can I see a picture of him?
Yeah, so that's him there.
Oh, I know who that guy is.
Oh, he's also in House of the Devil.
He's in a bunch of stuff.
That's right, he's in House of the Devil. Yep, he's in House of the Devil. He's
very good in that movie.
RoboCop 2. Seems like Manhunter was his most famous role.
Underrated movie that gets slept on.
Yeah.
I don't feel like people don't think about it. And Red Dragon, another movie, kind of gets slept
No, they're all good.
They're both
anything that
awesome.
anything tied to Hannibal Lecter is good.
It's just phenomenal.
He's a monster.
Thomas Harris wrote the fuck out of those stories.
Yeah, those stories, like, dude, all the TV shows, the Hannibal
you'd
TV
read
shows
them in a day.
Yeah,
I read them. I think I read Red Dragon in 2 days. Like they're so like.
I generally find Red Dragon to be the scariest of any of those movies. Like Silence of the Lambs is scary. Like the
Red Dragon is of the books
generally
is
scariest.
Hannibal is pretty rough, but Red Dragon is like villain wise, like Frank Dollarhide is
his fucking just
scariest
lurking in the fucking woods, watching these families
do the shit. There's a lot of shit about his grandmother like molesting him, and like it's fucked up.
Yeah, and she like makes him like cut his dick or something. Like it's fucking wild stuff.
It's rough.
Underrated movie.
Nice.
All right. Well,
okay.
Pick 2 then.
And then I'm gonna pick a little movie called Silent House from 2011. It was a remake from a 2010 Uruguayan film.
La Casa stole that one from me, Mike.
Silent House stars
never even heard of it.
Elizabeth Olsen, and it's a very claustrophobic, very kind of psychological thriller. Like she's being attacked. You think it starts off like you think it's like kind of like the house is possessed. She all these things, but it turns out that it's something a lot darker and a lot deeper. It's definitely got one of the guys from Nip Tuck. What's his name? He was also in The Stepfather.
Dylan Walsh.
I think he's in that.
No relation.
I think he's one. I think he plays the uncle. But it's a movie that like you can't really explain it without giving away the entire movie. Very underrated movie. Very slept on. Elizabeth Olsen plays a very good role in this movie.
This is a remake?
I didn't even know it was a remake until I went through a list, and I was like, "Oh, I love that movie." And I was like, "It is a remake." I saw this movie on a first date, and this is not a movie you should see on any date, let alone a first date. Because at the end of the movie, you're like, "Oh my god, what the fuck happened?
What the
like,
fuck?
That's depressing."
I don't even want to be around anymore.
But yeah, it's a very good movie. I figured I'd slide that in as my number 5. I can't really talk about it too much because I'd give it away.
Andrew sliding in the back door at number 5 with Silent House. That's from 2011, correct?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. All right, which means that we're to Matt for his final pick, which is probably going to have an influence on what I select.
Mike, I'm going to let you go before me.
What? Really?
Is that confident that you won't pick it?
No, I mean,
Or is he?
Wow.
Is he hoping he doesn't want to make the pick?
I'm kind of scrambling here. Let me see. All right, I am gonna go back to the 2000s here.
1999.
And I'm going to go to 2005 in a film directed by Jaume Colette Serra in his feature directorial debut, and that is the remake of House of Wax. You guys ever seen this?
I fucking love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not just now. Elijah Cuthbert.
Now,
way better.
The cast
stacked.
Not great. Some good-looking women in there,
Very
absolutely, with Alicia Cuthbert and Paris Hilton. Yeah, I could take or leave.
Paris Hilton's fine, but Alicia Cuthbert.
Chad Michael Murray, the guy from Jared Padalecki, the guy from Supernatural's in this. But obviously, like I could have picked the Vincent Price film
because that's a remake.
Mystery
also, of the House of Wax.
Because Vincent Price, I love
you
that
should
one.
Have.
I just think like So Colors of the Dark talked about this on like I think a remake thing. They did a couple of last year or the year before. And I was like, really? House of Wax? Like, I think I saw this like a while ago, and they're saying it's like really better than you remember. Like, go back and watch it. And I did. And the kills in this movie are fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
They're all practical effects. It looks really cool. It's got a very creepy vibe. Like, it works.
Can I give you 2 movies that it's kind of similar to?
Sure.
Tourist Trap
Yes.
and my boy, the other Vincent Price movie.
Oh, The Abominable Dr. Phibes. That's correct. Yeah.
Very similar.
Another Vincent Price vehicle.
You still haven't watched that movie, have you?
No,
I had to watch it
Dr.
so many
Phibes.
times. We kept thinking we were going to do it, and I just kept watching it over.
You're like, why am I watching this?
Yeah.
It's just Vincent Price.
Yeah.
Vincent
It's
Price.
so long.
We're not doing that.
Good evening.
It's not even that long. It's an hour and 50 minutes. But it's long because it's just some guy playing a fucking
Yeah.
orchestral fucking organ the whole time.
So yeah, go back and check out 2005's House
I
of
love
Wax
that
if
movie.
you haven't seen it in a while. It's really good. Also, the soundtrack fucking soundtrack fucking slaps.
How many
With
Deftones songs
the
are on
Prodigy, you got some My Chemical Romance on there,
Oh,
Andrew.
shit.
Some Joy Division, the Stooges, Marilyn Manson, and a little joint called Minerva by Deftones. Yeah, okay. So I had to slide that in there in the back door.
That movie is underrated.
It's very good.
That movie
yeah.
got slept on for a long time, but
It was.
that movie's got everything you want in a horror movie.
I was between this movie and one other movie that I'm almost positive that Matt's not going to select, but if it is, I kind of will be surprised.
No, I'm curious.
All right, Matt, go ahead. What's your last pick going to be?
Man, I'm like caught up between a couple of them. I'm gonna go with this one because I think I talked about another one on our 90s draft. So I'm gonna take 91 and a name that does not often get mentioned on this podcast, which is Martin Scorsese.
Ooh,
Fantastic pick.
Cape Fear.
Cape Fear, baby. That's a great movie.
Robert De Niro is
Yeah.
horrifying in this movie.
Mhm.
Yep.
And Juliette Lewis is the most innocent somehow person of all time. So
Yeah.
to have that combination is just so incredibly fucking frightening. It's the same thing where it's a guy that gets, prosecuted and he seeks revenge on the lawyer that put him out, and basically it's a home invasion movie where he comes in and he exacts revenge. And Scorsese, if you've seen any of his movies, it's violent as shit. It's De Niro being very ripped, very fucking scary looking. He's got like sharp teeth. It's like, dude, like what the fuck? He's got sharp teeth and like Nazi tattoos. It's like that can't be any scarier of a fucking dude to invade your home than anybody of all time.
Don't forget Nick Nolte.
Yeah, Nick Nolte,
Yeah.
Jessica Lange's in
like,
this
who is
too.
this?
Yeah. So this is, if I'm not mistaken, the episode of Seinfeld where Jerry rats out Uncle Leo for stealing, and he has the dream.
Jerry,
hello. He has Jerry hello tattooed on his
So
knuckles.
good.
Answer the damn phone. That's De Niro in Cape Fear. That's actually okay. So that's not what I was thinking. But that's a very good pick, though. Probably the
I forgot that was a remake.
I was gonna say probably the closest that Scorsese's gotten to horror, but then there's also Shutter Island.
This is scarier than Shutter Island.
This is much scarier. Shutter Island's more of a psychological.
Yeah.
This is just straight up fear.
And this has been
called
outwardly
Cape Fear.
called a horror movie.
Yeah. This movie rocks. I feel like it's one of the the not less popular, but kind of one of those Scorsese movies that's snoozed on because everyone's always like, oh, Goodfellas, ooh, Casino, ooh, Raging Bull. Taxi,
Yeah, this is like right in the
Taxi
middle
Driver.
of all of them.
Yeah. So that's a great
Well, it's
pick.
kind of like Manhunter with Michael Mann. That movie's snoozed on.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, we're talking about a lot of movies that just get their fucking snoozed.
Perfect. Love it.
Snoozered.
Cape Fear.
Any honorable mentions, Michael? Or-
Yeah. So I was going. If I was not going to pick House of Wax, I was going to pick the 2010 Joe Johnston Wolfman movie with
Wolfman was definitely on my list.
Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins, and I think Emily Blunt is in that too.
Yeah.
Great practical effects in
love
that movie.
Emily
There's a
Blunt.
transformation scene in a psychiatric hospital where Benicio del Toro transforms in full light in front of in like a, what do you call it? like a surgery theater in front of like a billion
He's
doctors.
in like a
Yeah.
gladiator.
And he just fucking, dude, the transformation scene is awesome. And he just like rips them all to fucking shreds. It's great. I loved that movie. Didn't get good
I thought it
reviews
was
at the
very
time.
good. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
That was the biggest honorable mention that popped into my mind was The Wolfman. Obviously, you could talk about the greatest film ever made in the 1999 Academy Award winner for Best Picture, The Mummy, but we've talked about that a lot.
I mean, The Grudge.
The Grudge, The Ring.
Yeah, I didn't
Yep.
include anything like that. The only foreign movie I included was Quarantine.
Yep, Quarantine is a remake
Funny
of Wreck.
Games. Not
I don't
so much.
No, I like the original.
Old
too much.
Boy.
Mm.
I like the
No.
original too much too.
Same
Same thing with Pulse.
Pulse.
The new
Yep.
one was awful.
The only ones I had that didn't get picked were House on Haunted Hill and Night of the Living Dead by Tom Savini.
Yeah. Yep.
Other than fucking Quarantine
Yeah. Also, I mean, I don't think we brought it up.
and Halloween by Rob Zombie.
Yeah, the Rob Zombie.
That one's
Halloween
actually
actually do like
not
that
a bad
one.
movie.
No, it's not. Obviously, we didn't bring it up because I felt like this was one of those untouchable movies that you didn't even consider to be a remake, Matt. I think we were saying off air because you consider it to be canon and the bigger like scheme of all the movies is the Fede Alvarez Evil Dead movie from 2013.
Phenomenal movie.
I'm sure there's probably a lot of people that are listening and being like, "How the fuck did that movie?" not get picked?"
90% of people are going to think that that's a remake. I personally, I mean,
I just didn't
that's
want to talk.
fine.
We've talked with that movie so much.
We have.
Like, there's no need to. Like,
Yeah.
that's canon. It's like The Fly. The Fly is just kind of.
I don't
the
think
thing-
the Evil Dead remake is a remake. I think it's just a continuation.
But
of
even
that
if it's not a
story.
remake, it's so good that it's like
perfect.
it's in the trinity of just like
Yeah.
great.
we don't
films,
talk about
yeah.
that. We don't. Talk
Yeah,
about
I was gonna
that.
say for me, I wanted to go a little bit deeper than like The Thing, The Fly, and Evil Dead. Like I would have.
We could talk about those movies all like
Of
till we're
course,
blue in
of
the
course.
fucking face.
Yeah. So, Matt, did you think about what did I ask before? A horror movie that you would never want to see remade? Was the question that I asked?
Yeah. Well, Andrew said The Exorcist. What did you say?
I said Jaws.
Jaws.
Yeah. Other than Jaws, I would say like maybe
I know we-
Alien.
I know we were
Alien's
talking
been
about. I know we
remade.
were talking about news, but you see, there's another Russell Crowe
Exorcist movie. Yeah, I didn't
It
see
has
that.
nothing to do with the other
Pope's
one.
No, yeah,
Exorcist.
even better. I'm like, let's fucking go, bro.
Yeah,
I
fucking
fucking
nuts.
love.
I guess Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
fucking.
You know what I mean? Like, that's gonna be the last one. It's not really it.
Yeah, right.
But I do love Rosemary's Baby, the original. I love every person that's in that movie. I love the story. I love the way it's set up.
I feel like that movie is untouchable because if they were going to remake that movie, they would have done it by now.
They tried to make it into a show,
Oh, did they?
but I don't really count that.
No.
They did the same thing with
When
The
was that?
Exorcist. I don't know.
Have you seen
The
it?
Exorcist TV show is actually like a lot of people say is actually kind of good.
The one that was on Fox.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people like that.
Oh.
So I mean, I haven't watched it, so I can't say for sure. But all right, I think that does it for our draft.
Yeah.
If we want to run through our teams real quick, I can start. Unless Andrew, you want to go first, if you remember your picks.
Well, since I picked number one,
Do you even remember what you picked?
I picked The Hills Have Eyes.
Yep.
And then I picked, in no particular order, because somebody fucked up my picks. Let Me In, I think I picked two, then The Crazies, then Red Dragon, then Silent House.
Look at you. That's the exact order you picked them in.
I never remember. I'm always just like in a fever pitch, just picking teams. I'm like, yeah, let's fuck it out.
All right, good stuff,
So
Andrew.
excited.
Matthew, what about you?
All right. So I picked Dawn of the Dead, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Blob, Amityville Horror, and Cape Fear.
Nice.
Good stuff. I had It from 2017, The Invisible Man from 2020, Fright Night from 2011, Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 2003, and House of Wax from 2005.
Underrated movie.
Sure is. That was a lot of movies to talk about there, guys. We ended up going one extra round.
You
for all you people.
didn't do a movie before 2003.
Yeah, I wanted to go a little bit,
Does anybody else do?
yeah. I wanted to go a little bit.
Did anybody
little
have
bit
any
deeper.
from before that?
Matt had one from the 80s, one from the
Matt had one
90s,
from the
And the
80s,
70s.
70s, 80s, 90s for Matt. Yeah, wow.
I think I was all 2000s too.
Yeah.
Well, because he stole
Look at
fucking
us.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Fucking ass. What a piece of shit.
All right, well, good
That
stuff,
was the
guys.
pick. I think that was the steal of the draft.
Invasion.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers. That
Might-
late.
That
Dude,
could have been. That could have been.
That could have been
first
number
round pick.
one.
I can't
Yeah.
believe you didn't. I can't believe you didn't.
That
pick
could have been
Yeah.
at
one.
the turn with two.
1-1.
I was shocked. I was.
I would have traded that for Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, they were both like I was like I gotta pick. One of them
If
that was
like I
wrong.
said, I would have taken Hills Have Eyes first.
Yeah.
Those might have been like 1 and 2. Like those might have been the top 2.
But still, you got Dawn of the Dead and Invasion.
It's good stuff, boys. Anything else to add?
I think you win.
I do
That
too.
1-2 wins.
Well, maybe we can throw a poll out there and have people decide for themselves. Maybe we'll throw it up on social media when this episode comes out next week. We shall see.
And then we have trivia.
We do. We have trivia. So, well, we have trivia ahead of us as of this recording. When this comes out, it'll be behind us, I think. I don't know. Our recording schedule's all messed up. I don't really know. It'll be out at some point around halfway to Halloween. And halfway to Halloween is a thing. And hope you are enjoying your halfway to Halloween celebration, dear listener. I know I had a great time here with my boys doing halfway Halloween.
Good draft, boys.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I think that's going to do it for another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks for checking back in with us. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode and listened to us banter about a bunch of different movies rapid fire because that was a lot of fun to talk about. So we will be back next week with an as yet undetermined topic, unless I believe it's an Andrew week, unless you have something in mind.
We skipped that. I already had it in mind. Baskin.
Baskin.
Yep, we made it because we're going to talk about drafts, so Baskin's up next.
Baskin. Turkish film, I believe. you
Sir,
said?
yes, sir.
Turkish delights.
I don't like the look that's on both of your faces right now. I feel like I'm about to be thrown for a loop. So, all right.
Oh, dude, you're gonna
You'll
get
love it.
Yeah.
thrown into something.
All right. Excellent. Well, all right,
Basket.
Baskin.
A bathroom stall you can never get out of, dude.
Oh boy, I'm
Sounds
intrigued.
like a great night.
All right. Well, have a good evening. Happy halfway to Halloween. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and I want to say thanks again for listening to another episode of our show. If you're interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I'd highly recommend you check out the shows from our friends over on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find shows from Inebriart, The Old Colony Cast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, and Retro Redoctopus, so head on over and give them a listen.